Okay, we did this before, and this is the third one. There'll be one more in September, and Tom Mann again. So, what's going on here?
Well, on behalf of the coalition, we've announced our the party's most recent report card, and as you can see, in the yellow highlights are the improvement marks by the parties, and all parties but the People Alliance. The People Alliance did not submit this time.
What's the problem?
Well, we didn't hear from them.
Well, what's the problem? You got a guy that's a leader, as a minister. He likes to talk. So how come?
Well, we sent them the same information with the same requests and the same follow-up and an additional follow-up, and they just have not responded to us.
They don't recognize you? Or?
I'm not sure what the problem is, but they're still on our board. You know, they can come back in September. We'll be asking them. They're a registered party. We'll keep going back to the 5 registered parties.
When I'm done with them, they'll get something.
You know, well, what's interesting here is that in the area of public participation, you know,
and that means
how are they going to engage New Brunswickers in the decision making? How are they going to allow New Brunswickers to participate in basically in democracy in this province? And you can see that back in June, the parties really had a hard time getting their head around what it was that we're asking. Even after the NB Power campaign, you know, the parties were having some difficulty. But we went back to them and explained, you know, exactly what we're looking for. Give us some concrete details and a time frame and how you're going to implement your plan. And you see that you know, the Greens went from an F to a C+ to a B+. Significant movement by the Greens. And the reason why they got a B+ this time is that they've given some very concrete examples for Aboriginal people as how they would engage them and talk to them and get their involvement.
Really?
How they'll involve environmentalists, how they'll involve other stakeholders and New Brunswickers in the province. You know, you look at the Liberals.
Yeah, they did better.
Yeah, we're really pleased that the Liberals.
Yes.
They have announced to us, and this will show up in their campaign platform. They've got a plan now under public participation that looks good on paper. You know, New Brunswickers are going to have to determine whether or not what look good on paper can it actually be implemented. And the reason why they only have a D is they didn't give us any implementation details. They didn't give us a time frame. They didn't give us who was going to do this. So, you know, but they got a better mark, and I'm really glad to see, and we're really glad to see that the Liberals have moved on that. The NDP have given us some more details, so they were able to get a grade.
No change for the PC?
No, the PCs. You know,
I thought their public engagement was good.
Yeah, well, it is good, and it's compared to where we were back here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they have shown great improvement. What they've, in order to get a better mark in September, we're going to be going back to the parties and asking them for more detail. More specifics. We think that this is very important for New Brunswickers. After, you know, the last 12 years, we're able to give at least a dozen examples where decisions were not made by government that went and met a public accountability test until the public had to go protest in the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a sin.
And it was cold.
It was cold.
Our ancestors weren't stupid when they built the legislature right where it is. It could be calm downtown, but up front there it's windy and cold. Okay, never mind that. Okay, code of conduct.
The code of conduct.
What's that again?
This is asking the parties to submit their positions on the personal code of conduct of MLAs, like Are they going to be honest? Are they going to be integral?
That'll be good. Okay, what happened there?
Well, you know, see, we saw improvements in the Green Party, went from a C to a B+. The Liberals,
They're not going to be honest?
Well, no, what they're saying is that we have all the laws. Like we have the Privacy Act and we have the Civil Service Act, and they're basically telling us they're going to stand pat on the status quo. Mm-hmm. Well, we know that New Brunswickers don't accept the status quo. No. And they're wanting the MLAs to be better performers.
And the NDP?
The NDP, they gave more detail with regard to how they see the conduct of MLAs improving.
And the PC, okay, we've got about 5 minutes here.
Yeah, okay. Well, government ethics.
What does that mean again?
This is about how we're going to deal with lobbyists. Yeah, can we?
4 minutes left. Quick. Is that right? No, okay, hold it. Okay, cut to. Okay, we'll